You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in once again to a rockin' awesome night here at the Six Screens. Boy, we are so glad we have a whole lot of people already coming in. And listen, folks, if you're just tuning into this channel for the first time, by all means, stay with us. What we do here is we expose the Watchtower organization. We have many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who speak up on this program. They call in at the end of the program. So by all means, if you want to participate in that, we'll have all the numbers for you. You will see it on YouTube. But anyways, the host of the program, her name is Barbara Anderson, and she doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to bring her on. That's Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
Hello, everybody.
Well, Barbara has some very interesting guests, and she's had them right along. She's been on the network now for over a year. And she's been talking about the Watchtower and some of the heinous activity that they've been involved in. And she does her homework. She gets many former Jehovah's Witnesses to come on and tell their story. Well, she has a very interesting couple coming in, and it's wonderful what they've experienced when they left the Watchtower. But let's bring them on. And Barbara, why don't you introduce them? Then I will get out of here and let you guys do your thing. And if I'm here, if you need me.
Yes, this is Tony and Nestor Culan. We go back quite a bit of years with them, and absolutely got to know them when they lived near us in Tennessee. It was probably for a year or so, wasn't it?
Almost, yes.
Yeah, it was wonderful. We sure wish that we were neighbors of yours again. It would be wonderful.
Me too.
so far, so much land mass between us now, since you're and the ocean and whatever. But we have so much in common, and that's certainly, we carry this almost the same baggage, don't we?
Yes.
We weren't as in the work as the same type of work as you were, but we had the same feeling and zeal as you did. Now, I put on the banner that I put around the United States for people to join us tonight, and I said all the things that you guys have done. I don't know how you did it all. I'll tell you. If a person
don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, Barbara, I'm gonna bring another friend of yours, and there's on. Gonna add him right now. You know this guy, don't you?
Oh no, not
How are you, Barbara?
I'm just fine. Now, don't you start talking in Spanish. I'm the only one that doesn't understand it. So.
¿Por qué no?
He will translate for me.
Yeah, because sometimes, Nestor, your Spanish is better than your English, I think, so. But you speak Spanish all the time. When you talk to each other, what language do you talk to in?
Spanish.
Mostly Spanish, yeah.
Is that right? Tony, were you born in the United States?
No, I was born in Puerto Rico. I was about 5. I think I was about 5 years old when I went to New York. When my parents moved to New York. Mm-hmm.
So was it to the city? New York City?
How's that?
New York City. Is that where you moved to?
Yes, Manhattan.
Well, I live 30 miles from there, and I was born and raised 30 miles from there. Now, Ephraim, you are a Puerto Rican.
Bronx.
You were married. Oh, you. I can get confused with all you folks, but so you were born in the Bronx, but you were taken. I remember this from interviewing you. You were taken to Puerto Rico at 2 years old?
No, 8.
Oh, it was older. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
it was
went to
six.
second
It
grade
was
in
the
New York.
opposite of me.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's
I
where
went
I
all.
had the 2 right
Yeah,
there.
when I went to Puerto Rico, I couldn't speak anything in Spanish. I only knew English.
Uh-huh. Well,
Oh.
it's wonderful to know 2 languages, especially Spanish, because there's so many people, even here in Tennessee now, that have moved in. We have neighbors that are Spanish, and we don't
Oh,
talk to
really?
them because they don't speak any English. So it's
Ah,
difficult. But I want to know, Nestor, where do you come from originally?
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico.
Okay, and so where did you meet this gal next to you? Because she was gone from Puerto Rico early.
No, but she will tell you now when she returned back is that we met.
Oh, okay. So
You will
Tony,
hear from her.
okay, Tony, tell us about returning back
Okay.
to Puerto
Okay,
Rico.
we went to the States, and in 1950, I think it was 58. Shortly after that, my parents decided to go back to Puerto Rico,
Ah,
and they went ahead. And about 6 months later, I joined them in Puerto Rico. So it
mhm.
was like 1960, around there.
In 1958, you learned about the witnesses.
Yeah.
Oh,
In New York.
She
is that
lived all the time from the about 5 years until
1958
mhm.
in New York. Mhm.
So? Did you go to the big convention in New York in 50?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
were there. Why didn't you say something to us? There's only 250,000 people.
What? That was my first encounter with Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, I
I
see.
didn't even know the name. I didn't know what Jehovah's Witnesses were, or who they were, or what I was doing there. But I liked it. Everybody was so nice. Everybody smiled.
Mhm.
And I couldn't believe it, because in New York, people don't smile at you. And so I told my cousin, I said, these people are different. And they certainly were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
why you
Mormons.
were there.
Yeah, my cousin started studying. She went to the Ridgewood congregation,
Ah,
and because we lived about 3 or 4 blocks from each other. I lived on Bushwick Avenue,
I know that.
and
Mhm.
then she invited me, but she said, "I'm going to Yankee Stadium. You want to come with me?" But she didn't tell me what. I thought I was going to go see the Yankees playing. So of course I said yes. And it was summertime, and I was off from school.
Mhm.
So I went with her, and
Mhm.
Lord and behold, I
The
bumped into
irony of
Jehovah's
that,
Witnesses.
I've heard of many experiences of how people met Jehovah's Witnesses, but I had never heard one like that, that you actually go to a ballpark and think you're going to watch a game, and you meet the witnesses. That's
I just sat there.
that's
I
different.
sat there and I said, "Well, nobody's playing ball here." But I didn't want to hurt my cousin. I always used to feel sorry for her, because she was very lonely, like. So I didn't want to make it worse for her. So I thought, well, I'll just, smile and let it flow.
She was a
So it did.
witness. Was she a witness?
No, she wasn't either. She was studying.
Ah.
As a
Mhm.
matter of fact, I got baptized before she did.
Mhm. Um,
Hmm.
and Nestor, how about your background in Puerto Rico as far as the witnesses?
Yes, I I was at the university,
Oh,
and yes, I was studying at the university when I learned about the witnesses
what were you
through the
there
course
for? What were you studying?
psychology.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to be a psychologist, and cousin started talking to me, and I like it what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me an awake that, interestingly, he was talking about psychology, the different theories, and I was so impressed by that article that I asked him for more information. And then I started studying.
Mm-hmm.
And in the university, there was a little group of witnesses, and we used to talk about this and the other thing and the other thing. I got enthused, and at that time they were pressing for the pioneering, so I wanted to be a pioneer. When I met Tony, that she was already a special pioneer,
Mm-hmm.
so
But when you got baptized, Tony, it was 58. Was
Yes.
that a few
yeah,
months after the big convention?
Was that what?
A
yeah,
few months after the big convention.
6 months.
Yeah. I got married. I'm sorry. I got baptized in December of that year,
So approximately
and the
6 months.
assembly was in the summer. Yeah.
Yes, 6 months later. And Nestor, you were baptized in
In 61, 1961.
61. How long were you studying before?
Me?
Yeah, before you were baptized. Was it right away?
Oh, yes, yes, right away,
Right away.
right
Yeah.
away.
Well, we were. My
We
experience
fast.
was similar. It was fast. Yeah. I mean, we recognized it to be different, and we thought it was truth. And why wait, right? Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
So,
We were fast.
so you met in Puerto Rico as witnesses.
Yes.
Yes, as
Yeah.
witnesses.
Well, I want to know where you met. I know I met my husband at a get together of witnesses, and we danced and we did a tango, and we've been tangoing ever since. And it's been a long, long time for us and a long time for you guys. So,
Mhm.
did you meet at a Kingdom Hall or at Assembly or where? And what city? Where were you in Puerto Rico?
In Canóvanas.
Canóvanas.
Yeah, in an assembly in Canóvanas. It's not too far from San Juan.
Ah,
My mother and Nestor were in the same congregation. ¿Verdad?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went because my mother was there, and when I got there and Nestor saw me, he came down right away to meet me.
well, I don't blame
He
him
saw
because
me
I
from
saw that picture of your wedding, the two of you. I sent that to Rick. I'm not sure that he paid attention to that. I wanted him to show that picture. I mean, what a beautiful couple. Both of you are like movie stars.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Just absolutely beautiful. So, what year did you marry? What year?
64, 64.
Mm-hmm.
1964.
Well, we're married 5 years more than you. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, 59. Most people listening here, I mean, they have no idea, right? No idea what it's like to have lived this as long as we all have, and we're still sane, I think, and active. Isn't that
Yes.
true, Ephraim?
Yes.
Now, here, Ephraim is a youngster.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, before I answer that, I would like to read something from Nestor's book.
Okay.
It says here when he met Tony.
Oh,
Oh. Uh-oh.
And this is public because it's in his book.
Aha.
And he says that he caught an eye on this beautiful, thin young lady with beautiful legs
Oh,
and a very small waist. That's how he's that. So it was like whoop,
oh my God.
Cupid.
I was impressed.
Uh-huh.
Said, what? So I walked down I would walk down to there where they were together talking. And who was there? Her mother. We have a very good friendship. Her mother and I until she died, we were really close. So she
Ah,
introduced me.
look at the
Aha,
picture.
There you go.
look at that.
Isn't it beautiful? I mean
Now
to say.
tell me, I was impressed.
Look at there. Both of you look like movie stars, don't you think, Ephraim? I
Oh,
mean to
definitely.
say.
Like from those vintage Spaniard movies.
Yes, yes, that's it. I'm so
So,
pleased that Rick put that up because, you know, we all were young once, and people forget that
yeah,
this is your life right here, and what a
yeah,
life it has been, hasn't it?
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ups and downs, but it's been great.
Wouldn't you say
Well,
you
ups and
had an
downs, but
adventure? I mean, so
never
many
between
think
us.
No.
it was being a witness was a waste of time, and they're sorry they were. But in your case, in our case, we really had the adventures, and we probably wouldn't have had them if we hadn't been witnesses.
Yes.
How about you, Ephraim? Did you have adventures?
Oh yes, I did. I mean, but the best thing I got out of being a Jehovah's Witness was meeting Dinora.
Ah, see
Mm-hmm.
that? Well,
And
me too. Meeting Joe.
yes, I mean
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Dinora and I, we were pioneers together. I mean, we did not
yeah.
get to travel a lot, but I mean, we were pioneers. I did work in Bethel in Puerto Rico a little bit.
Hmm.
But once again, the best thing I got was her.
Yes.
For how
So
long have you been married?
22 years.
Ah, okay, good, good. You have,
And
you're
you
almost a
have been,
veteran.
yeah, and you guys have been married for 56,
59.
59.
it'll be 60 in August, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll be
Can you
65
imagine?
for us in November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How many years have you been married, Barbara?
65 in November.
65.
Right.
Yeah.
65.
Yeah. And I can't believe it. I said, what's this nice young woman doing in this old body? And, because well,
And
well,
Still going strong.
yeah.
I can give witness about your marriage
Oh, yes.
and about Joe.
Hmm.
He's such a
Yeah.
wonderful man.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
why
Yes.
we're married so long. It was
Yes.
me.
Yes.
It was him. He's a very special a man, and he even if
Yes.
he wasn't a witness, he would have been a special man, a
Mm-hmm.
good
Yes.
husband,
Mm-hmm.
and very very respectful, and we were partners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
always been partners, and you two have been too. Since I know you
Yeah.
from living near you, you two are
Mm-hmm.
really partners, and partners do argue. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. In business, partners don't get along all the time, but that doesn't mean
Yes.
that they don't
Yeah.
like each other or aren't successful in business. so,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so now, who started being really active in the work? Now, so what did you do, Nestor, to support this woman before you started in the special work?
Before. No, when we married,
Yeah.
we started Pioneer the same day. Well, the same
Oh,
month. The
really?
same month. I was working. So I applied for a special pioneer and I quit my job. We got married and then pioneering.
So you
Yeah.
started off doing something that you did for most of your
Yeah.
life, huh?
Yeah, we work fast. We make arrangement and go ahead.
And that was of course, in Puerto Rico. So, Tony, you from what you told us that you started a special pioneer in 1961, right?
Talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico, in a town called Comerío,
Uh-huh.
north of Bayamon.
I was a new mother in 1961.
Wow.
Yes.
How's that?
I became a mother in 1961.
Ah,
Mhm.
okay.
Now, you two have never had
Oh,
any kids, and
No.
we're not going to extol that or talk about that one way or another. The The special pioneering. Give us an example, Tony, of how in the world did you get 150 hours in?
Huh. It was rough. It was rough, but we did it. We got a lot of Bible studies. We started in where did we start in Humacao, ¿verdad?
Yeah, together, yes.
Uh-huh.
When you was by yourself.
When I was by myself,
Yeah,
well, when I was by my, how's that?
No, I was just going to say you started in 61. He started in 64.
And then, yeah.
3
Well,
years.
there I started with another girl, and
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it seems like they froze a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, did give them a second or two, most likely. Now, they have a very interesting story, and I was reading their book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an excellent, it's a very easy read,
Well, we have to
and
get someone to translate it into English.
I
That's
think there's an English version. Well, as soon as they
it
unfreeze over
wasn't.
there.
No, not when I last talked to them. There wasn't.
There wasn't? Okay, we'll have to ask because I know that when I'm reading this as Spanish version, so I'm guessing maybe there's an English, so I don't know.
They were writing it when they lived in this area,
Oh
and
yes, you were telling me that
yeah,
you proofread some.
some chapters. Yeah.
Exactly.
There we
There we
go.
Okay,
go.
here we are.
Yeah.
Something
Okay.
happened.
We were talking about you
So,
behind your back while you.
so I started pioneering. I started special pioneering in Puerto Rico with another girl, another, and while I was there 2 years, I think it was 2 years. Yeah.
Como hacía
We started a lot of Bible studies,
como hacía las 100 horas.
and then this one family, everybody started, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, they all became Jehovah's Witnesses. And that was great. And there was a lot of men. So then they took over.
As they usually
And
do, right? We do the work and they take it over.
yeah. And I still correspond with one of them that lives in North, ¿dónde que vive este muchacho?
No sé.
He's north of New York. And when he comes to Puerto Rico, he always visits us. And
Nice.
one of the
How do you manage?
one of the guys that started there became a circuit overseer.
Hmm.
And I think he and his wife also became missionaries.
Interesting.
What we
How do
say?
you manage to make 150 hours?
Oh, well, we did a lot of Bible studies and going house to house. And the minute we left the house, everyone would start talking to us because here they were, these two girls, and everyone was like, all the boys in the town were always in a circles, and they would stop us and talk to us, and we would sell them the Watchtower. And we started counting our time.
You have to
Oh,
be creative counting time when you are a pioneer, especially for 50 or 150. You had to be creative.
I thought she was going to say the
Oh,
minute
yes.
we left the house, like some people was witness. As soon as they got their foot in the car, they started counting time, whether they were at someone's house or not. So I thought she was going to say that, but no, she started witnessing as soon as they stick out their foot out the door. And
Yeah, in Puerto Rico, they kind of was shunned upon, frowned upon that you start counting time before you spoke to the first person. So if you were to do something like that, you had to give a tract or a magazine or
yeah,
something to somebody,
yeah,
and then you start counting time.
yeah.
That was wise. But
Mhm.
when we got married, we started pioneering in Macau. It was hard. We started preaching at 9 o'clock till 12. Then at one again, hopefully we were anxious to make back. Back
calls.
call was the name. Back calls,
Revisits.
because to go from house to house at that time with the sun, it was hard.
The heat
Oh,
was
So we
yeah.
hope to have some Bible study, or and we we used to go from one place and then trying to travel a little bit to take a rest to the other
Mm-hmm.
one,
Mm-hmm.
because it was hard. You have to do it every day
Yeah.
to be able to finish with 150
And you were working too
hours.
to support your both of you. That's what's so remarkable. You know, you had the
Yeah.
determination to do it right. And so, what was the big surprise? Did you have any warning, or that you were going to get a letter from the society, or what? Because
But when?
You
well,
mean to go to Bethel?
1967, you were invited to go somewhere. That's
To
what I.
Gilead.
Yes, yes. Were you
Well,
surprised or what?
well, that invitation is not really an invitation. In the branch, they started encouraging us to go to because Tony was a good friend with the branch overseer,
Oh yeah,
Robert Parker,
Parkin and his wife,
and the other
Johnson.
missionaries. We used to go Monday nights to watch our study of the family.
Oh,
So they encouraged us to go to Gilead.
yeah.
So when we decided to go, you have to apply.
Okay. That's what I said.
You apply,
I wanted to see you tell about, well, how do you get there? Mm-hmm. Do you
and then they
apply?
invite you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they invited us.
Mm-hmm.
in
So,
67.
so was it upstate New York where Gilead was?
No. That was in
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
In
It
Brooklyn.
was in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
That's right.
When we got the letter, they didn't give us too much time to read the whole Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard because we have to read the Bible and make the 150 hours. Wow, that was really hard on us.
Only the young can do it, you know.
But we
You're
did it.
young and determined, and you had goals. You know,
Yeah.
that's the advantage of being young. So,
Yes.
so what do you think of Gilead? And who was the registrar of Gilead? Tell us about some of the names of the people you remember.
Dunlop?
No, time was brother Glass.
Glass. Oh yeah, he's such a doll.
Yeah,
Glass was
He was such a wonderful man.
that's right.
yeah, he was the register.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the main instructor.
Yeah.
One thing I especially go ahead.
Sorry, no.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say the other instructor was, but I forgot. Wilkinson.
Wilkinson. Yeah, el hermano
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Wilkinson.
I made up a song too for the graduation.
Interesting.
It was Glass and Wilkinson, the two instructors.
Yeah.
It was nice. I was telling him before that I was very surprised with what was the name of the first register?
Well, Albert Schroeder was.
Sure, I was shocked
Yeah.
because he has such a good reputation, that he was so smart, that he was brilliant. And boy, when I saw him giving us talks, I was really disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nothing solid. I mean, for me, when I there were few good speaker. I mean, not as a speaker, but the good information. But Schroeder, I don't know,
know.
it was such like a show.
That's right. Uh-huh.
Like
I
a
didn't
show,
go to
but
Gilead, but I knew him in Bethel, and he put on airs. We all knew it, you know. He put it on that he was a tremendous researcher, and then you come to find out that it wasn't. It was all show on the part of him. I mean, he was
Exactly.
sincere, but he wasn't as smart as he he put on. And well, we could talk about personalities forever, but they were just
Yeah.
people. But Glass was
But
memorable.
there were a few good instructors.
Mhm.
Remember that we used to have in Gilead 1 hour talk every day. Every
Mm,
day, 1 hour talk. And
mhm.
there was one of the best ones was your friend that used to work with you in the writing department. What was his name?
In the writing
Yeah,
department.
his last name is not American. He was working with the Awake magazine,
Oh well, Harry Paloyan.
Harry Paloya. He
Mhm.
gave wonderful talks, good
Yeah. Well,
information, good
he was a
information,
Harvard
solid.
graduate, you know. He was a Harvard
Yeah,
graduate.
so you
Wow.
can get
You could
it.
tell the difference.
And there are few others, good one, but the rest of them were just reading from the magazine. They got information in books and magazine, and they gave it to us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had a very strange experience that I've never talked about it or even written it, but when we went to Gilead, of all things, they assigned me to learn English
Mm.
with a German girl that was also for Gilead who hardly knew English. And
Somebody
and
do.
and she said, Tony,
To test you.
why am I teaching you English? Why don't you teach me English? And that's what we would do. I would teach her English,
Oh,
but
that's
they assigned
sweet.
me for her to teach me English. So I
Oh.
said, okay.
Yeah,
So,
because
since you were in the city, New York City, she should have learned English with a New York accent, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
Uh,
like you would say in Brooklyn. Yeah.
yeah, you can't forget that, can you?
Uh-huh.
You know, I was raised around them and I know how they talked. So
Yeah.
I used to talk like that, but now I'm a southerner. You know, I speak southern.
Of course, my first part was in New York, in Manhattan, and they didn't talk like the people in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, it was very different.
Isn't that the truth? Yes. We have such fond memories of people, don't we?
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I
yeah.
yes,
mean,
we
there were
do.
annoying people that you met, but the sincere ones, Ephraim agrees, I know, because you certainly made a mark yourself in your life
Mhm,
with so many people. And they all had, the ones we were closest to had the same hope for the future,
mhm,
you know.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
you know, your theme is you're free, right? Your theme,
Free. That's
yeah,
my
yeah, finally free, freedom, right?
Yes.
freedom.
And yet you had such a good life early on. We did too, but we rejoice in our freedom. How about you, Ephraim?
Oh, dear God, nothing better than when we left the organization.
Yeah,
As simple as that. I
yeah,
mean, it it was uh oh wow, it was a complete 180, and our life skyrocketed, and
yeah.
everything, happiness. There's nothing like being free. One of the things, the first thing that my wife mentioned is that she noticed how much time, how much free time she could have during the weekends,
Uh-huh.
because
Mm,
Saturday was for preaching, Sunday
Oh,
was for the getting ready for
please.
the
yeah.
watchtower, and
There was
sometimes
no
even
free time.
there was
No,
no free time.
if even if you went
Mm-mm.
out to lunch with witnesses, what'd you talk about? The meeting, the
Oh yeah.
watchtower study, because that's what they said. You know, so it was
And yeah, and
always
in Bethel,
time.
Bethel was even less time, because in Bethel you had to get ready. We get at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to the morning
Mhm.
worship, then go to work, then and there was a meeting and lunch. Then afterwards, you had the little time you had was for studying for all the meetings. The Monday was the Monday worship,
Yeah,
family
Monday
worship,
evening. Mm-hmm.
and there was no time.
No, no. So we're talking here with smiles on our face about our early years as witnesses. And so some might feel, well, who are a bit bitter, and we're not bitter, like we're extolling our past. Yeah, we had adventures, but those adventures were within a limited arena. The scope of them wasn't broad. We could travel, whatever, but mentally. And Nestor, you could speak about this because you were studying psychology.
Yeah.
And so then you enter into a religion. This religion and the psychologist's view are a little different.
Yeah. Plus, I remember my father used to talk about liberty all the time. Remember, he was happy that he was having some beers and listening to music. He would talk about liberty. Give me liberty or death. I remember those words. And yeah, he pressed that in my mind. So
But
it's
he wasn't.
interesting.
So he never became a witness, your father.
No,
No.
no, 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 no.
Right.
But he allowed me. He said, okay, that's your problem, but look at what you are doing. I remember one day he told me, but how are you going to take care of Tony if you get married to her? With what money? You have nothing. You said you're going to quit working and do those things that they do. So yeah, you don't understand, but I said, okay, that's your problem. He was quite open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Very
See?
much.
Mm-hmm.
But since the first day, I was having, like the psychologists say, intellectual dissonance,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to see things but act in other ways. I was really shocked when I went to Gilead, just since the beginning, to see the environment there in Bethel.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an army, like getting like how do you call it, the straight jacket.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
They read to us so many instructions about even how to talk, the volume at night after 10 o'clock, thing like that. It was really like in a jail.
Yeah.
You know that they always say that when you go to jail, they change you the clothes and they cut your hair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How
They
how
change your
to
personality.
how to get your clothes ready to go to the laundry. It was a they giving even a little chart like this goes first, this goes second, and you almost have to
Yeah.
fold it in a way, a specific way
Yes.
to be
Oh,
Yes.
picked up
absolutely.
from the sisters that were gonna go ahead and take care of that. It was
Haircut and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But no liberty. No liberty. I
Yeah.
noticed that. But that was Jehovah's way. But okay.
All four of us have experienced that. We lived it because
mhm.
all four of
Yeah.
us were at the headquarters. And isn't it something? Joe has a funny expression which is meaningful. He says, "You get used to hanging if you hang long enough."
Ah,
That's a
You
good
know,
one.
you get used to anything, and that's what we did.
yeah.
They slowly indoctrinated us to get used to all this. Otherwise, we wouldn't live forever. It's always that dangling uh,
Yes.
belief.
Yeah.
And so this was the way that you have to live to be with, like the military, to be with so many people, you've got to do what they tell you to do. So uh, many people couldn't do that, but you did it. You did it, Nestor and Tony, and you moved ahead. Your next adventure was graduation of Gilead. Unless you have an experience you want to tell, but if graduation from Gilead, were you surprised? Did they tell you ahead of time where you were going?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometime before they
Yeah.
said Spain to
Mhm.
allow you to talk to your family and things like that. And then I was shocked. I thought I was going to South America or something like that.
Mhm.
But Spain, it was wonderful. It
It
was a
was
good
like a it was
experience.
like a prize.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
go to Europe.
Envied us because we were going to Spain.
Yeah.
But at that time, they thought you're going to Europe. Good. But at that time in Spain, there was no religious liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we work
Underground. You were underground,
uh,
right?
Underground. Yes.
underground.
Yes.
When we got there, it was everything was underground. It was not easy.
Uh,
We made a few mistakes
Mistakes?
he's
that we
one.
didn't know
Yeah.
certain things, and they said, no, you do it this way, you do it that way.
No, but
Cultural differences.
they how is
Um,
that?
Cultural differences.
mhm.
Uh-huh.
Well, my pioneer partner was her name was Myrna, you know, and so
Mirna.
and Myrna was raised in New York. Her grandmother was from Spain, so she spoke the higher Spanish. She didn't speak. There was differences. I only know this. I can't say I experienced it,
Yeah.
and so when she and at the 58 assembly, she met a German man, and my husband
Answer.
married them, and they pioneered for a while and went to Gilead, and it was in the 60s. He married them in some. I think it was. I know it was in the 60s, but I just can't remember the date. And you knew them. You met them
Yes.
because they
Yes.
were in the circuit work. They graduated Gilead, and they were in the circuit work, right? He was German though, and
Yeah.
they
I don't know if she was in the second, or maybe later on.
later on they were in. I know because they came back every 3 years, and we were
Yeah.
together. And she talked about
Uh,
that, and
oh,
they,
do you remember at what time they went to Spain?
no, that's the whole thing. It had to
I
be in
think
the
that
60s. It was in the
when
60s.
when they go to Spain, we had religious liberty already.
Ah, okay.
I think it was the conditions were better.
Hmm.
I think so. Yeah, because they were living in a missionary home in the south originally, and then
See,
Oh yeah, they were living in one of the most beautiful cities in Spain.
yeah,
It was.
Seville was it?
maybe Seville,
I think it was
Uh-huh.
Seville.
Yes,
maybe
it
yeah.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, they were in the south. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. She was
So,
nice. I remember her.
um, so I heard a lot about that. But she was when they visited us. One of the last times we saw them, they were very annoyed about all the money spent on the new branch, and they were. In fact, they. I never saw them complain about the organization, but they did then. All the money that people donated, they sold their jewelry for it to build that branch. And I remember she said that the lobby was pink marble imported.
Wow.
Wow.
And eventually, of course, all that was sold. You know, they had
Mm.
like today, they don't have a branch.
Yeah,
So,
when we went in 1967, the branch was in three different homes, scattered.
mm-hmm,
It's so that if the police get one, they don't know where the others were,
interesting. Mm-hmm.
and everything was underground. For example, we went to Madrid. We started in Madrid, and do you
You
want
were
me to go ahead with this? With
you were in the
this?
circuit work, weren't you, when you started?
Yeah, circuit board was the first
Mhm.
thing, and the congregation were divided in groups. So in small group because you cannot meet
Not more than 10.
more. No, no. The meeting was according to the law, no more than 20 people can get together. If not, you have to ask permission. So they divided by groups in 20, 20. And when you visit the congregation, you visit two groups each week. That means that it was like visiting two congregations in 1 week.
Mm,
It was hard work
yeah, yeah.
because you had to make 100 hours a month. as a circuit overseer. You have all your work plus 100 hours in the field service.
And how much did you get paid?
$7.
Seven,
$7 a month.
seven,
Dollars a month at that time.
seven,
Seven. That amount.
seven and
amount.
2, 5 and 2, right? How in the world? Well, you ate with the witnesses all the time, and then they
Yeah,
gave
we
you the gas. You could turn in. You had a car? What?
no at that time.
No.
And you listen. You wait, and I will tell you
We didn't have
what we
a
used to
car.
do in the bus. At that time in Spain, the brothers didn't have too much money. There were many poor people, but the time there is different. I mean, the schedule was different. The first service was from 10 to 1 and from 3 to 5. Then you have some free time to eat, and then the meetings were at 7 o'clock till 9. Remember, 2 hours during the second overseer visit. That means that at 9 o'clock we were supposed to go and have supper, but that was hard. So sometimes they used to give us some money so we can buy a sandwich or something and eat.
It's hard
It,
work.
it wasn't easy. No, it wasn't easy
No.
to go late to your room, to the house where you were staying, and wake up in the morning to start again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we had half of Madrid. Madrid were two circuit. We had one half, another guy had the other half. Plus, we used to go all what is used to be called Castilla, Castilla la Vieja, Ávila, Segovia, Valladolid, Salamanca,
Up north.
all that area we used to cover. Plus Badajoz,
And down
Extremadura.
south.
So we used to take the bus to go to those places.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? They used to call it autocar. Take the autocar with two valises, one for Tony, one for me, to go those places. That was all, two valises, because it was with public transportation. Later on, we were able to buy a Citroën 2 horses. It was a small car.
It was like a buggy.
He saw Efrain was able to see the picture in the book.
Yeah, it was like a little
Yeah,
Hot Wheel toy.
Yes.
Oh my
it was
goodness.
very thin,
But,
like no weight, no weight.
yeah, but it moved, and you
It
carried
moved. It was cooled by air,
the question
no
somebody
oil, air.
asked, want to know if Tony got $7 too.
Yes.
Yeah.
14.
With that car, we traveled the whole country. The whole country. With
When
that car.
When Joe was in Bethel the first time, he got $14 a month. So
Yeah.
one person he got 14.
Wow.
Somebody said here that they got $50.
That's me.
Oh, that's you.
That's me.
Now they get
$50.
Yeah, like around $50 when I was in Bethel, Puerto Rico. So they upped it up a little bit. But I was there in the 90s. So whereas that's like 30 years
Well, we got
difference.
more than that. We started $80 in the early 80s, and then when we left, it was
$80.
$100. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Maybe-
well, it was big spenders, right?
Oh yeah.
When I was in Bethel, in Brooklyn, it was $14
14. Wow.
Yeah.
that we received. Yeah, 14. We were rich.
And you spent an awful lot of it on transportation on the subway. That's what Joe said. He said
Yeah,
the
yeah.
$14 with that one. But the friends were very
Yeah,
nice,
that's
very kind, and I'm sure you had you have your memories of great people. But at the same time, you also suffered, especially if you were ill. That would be difficult.
Yeah.
And so you got any experience? Somebody says, did you know John Kurtz? He was in my
Oh,
congregation.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
He was our branch
He was the
overseer.
overseer.
We have a
He was
very
our buddy.
good relation. We make good relation through the years. Yeah. You got to meet him in Brooklyn?
It's Marilyn King, who, if that's the Marilyn King that I know out in Washington State, She says, "Did you know John Kurtz? He was in my congregation when I was a child. I remember when he went to Gilead."
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
so
he was the
glad.
branch overseer until he
For many
resigned.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, he was a nice guy. We used to get together every Monday after the Watchtower study when I was
We used to
in
have
the
our
branch.
parties in his room.
Yeah, because the idea is that when I was in the circuit there, when I was appointed as a district overseer, I was the district overseer of the whole country, plus Canary Islands, plus Baleares, the island, Baleares Island. And when I was not in the district, then I was working in the branch,
Oh, I see.
in the service department. Yeah.
I helped them to set up the laundry and how I used to do it at Bethel. So I had to teach them how to do that and how to do the house cleaning like they do at Bethel.
You wrote a handbook.
Yes, I wrote a book on it.
Oh, did you really? Well, I
Yeah.
still make up my bed just like I was taught in Bethel. I don't know about Ephraim, but
No, I gave
do it just the way I was taught.
I gave that up, but it's very interesting the way they do it. I
Yeah.
mean, I even read
Yes.
in the book that Tony was explaining that you, it had to be made in a way that if you threw a dime, it had to bounce. Otherwise, you didn't do it
Uh-huh.
correctly.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Now that's control.
So
When
these two ladies didn't do bets. Tony was working in Bethel. Tony was working in the translation department as a proofreader. So,
and
But
that's New
when
York.
we went to Gilead,
That was
in Gilead, you
I
did.
worked in the hall. Yeah.
in New York. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But in Spain, you spent most of your time on the road, huh?
But when we were
Yes.
in Bethel, then I would work with the laundry
Yeah, you
and
said.
teach them. I
Yeah.
had to show them how to do
Yeah.
it, how Bethel used to do it, and so
Yeah,
on.
because what happened is that when originally I was in the district, no? But then when I was not in the district, I was in the branch. And then the Watchtower started again, the Kingdom Ministry School.
I see.
That was the school for the elders.
Yes.
Remember the school for the elders?
Well,
So I was appointed as the conductor.
72 is when the elder arrangement came in. 1972.
Wow.
Okay, then I was the instructor. So we started going to the city, the big cities, to give the school. Later on, when they opened the branch, then people used to come to the branch. At that time, Tony was working with the family, and I was conducting the school.
Yeah.
In the branch.
In the branch. So, but before that, you really were travelers because you spent
Oh yes,
whole country
yes.
district work and Canary
Circuit
Islands
district.
and that other island that I can't pronounce, Balearic, the Balearic.
Yeah,
Mallorca. Mhm.
Mallorca. That's Palma de Mallorca and Ibiza and those beautiful islands
Yeah,
for the
On
tourists.
the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
yeah.
I used to visit them.
We were
It's
in
beautiful.
Spain for a while. I mean, after we left the organization, and Barcelona, and then the beaches that area. That's when I was invited to talk at University of Geneva, and 2009. And I have to say, when we were witnesses, we did travel. So that was a wonderful part of it, but so many didn't. So many people had. There are people who had wonderful experiences, but the majority didn't. We don't want to. I want to be careful here. I don't want people to think, Oh my, what an absolutely wonderful life. It was work. It never
Yes,
that. It was
yes.
work, like you guys worked.
Oh yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also when I was uh, when we had before we used to go for the district assemblies to other countries, to France, to Rome, to Luxembourg, to Brussels, to
Brussels.
Brussels. We used to travel.
Mhm.
I mean, the whole country, all the group. The society make arrangement with the train and to go to those places
Mm-hmm.
to
To have the district assemblies.
and then I
No,
was the assembly
yeah.
overseer there. So we
Yeah.
were always working, working, working.
So you really didn't appreciate you weren't a tourist, You say you were
Yeah,
there, but the
you
whole
know,
time was spent to free of charge, basically, to
Hmm.
work for an organization that you really didn't know the background of well. I mean, we thought
yeah,
we did,
nothing at all.
and we could
Let me tell
talk.
you an experience.
Yes, in
Let me
this,
tell you an experience.
in the uh, you were in the I know what I want to ask you about in the service department in your Barcelona branch in the service department. Were you handling letters? Were you
Yeah,
at a desk? I mean, you
yeah.
had like in here in the States, in the service department, you have a New York desk, a Nevada desk, for the different states. So you were assigned a desk that you took care of the letters and the people who were circuit overseers, and right. So
Mm.
tell us some of the.
No,
Go ahead. You talk. You tell us.
no, because I was not always there.
No, I know you were part
See,
time.
when I came, I mean, when I was in Barcelona, then the branch overseer would give me whatever he wanted. He said those letters, so I will write them. See, because he and Gunther Buschbeck, that was the assistant branch overseer, they were doing the service. So they have their section of the country. So I will have several things to do. I mean, to letters to write, and when I finish them, I will bring them to him, put the stamp and send them, and he will give me more.
Mm-hmm,
See?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
it
you
was temporary, temporary.
temporary. You're getting experience though, and did it ever dawn on you that that instructions for that kind of experience was coming from New York for
How
your?
that?
Well, you were getting education in working in the service department, and
No,
okay,
no.
so in
I was
Barcelona,
in
in
I
Barcelona.
was in the district. I was in the district. One morning I wake up in the branch, and I go to the office, and then John comes to me and says,
Yeah.
"Answer this letter." That's all.
Oh, well, what I'm asking about is you were in the Barcelona branch in the service department, and you explained what you were doing. There wasn't any instructions from New York regarding what you should be doing, was there? Because very soon you were transferred to the Brooklyn Bethel in 1967. So you weren't in Spain that long, were you?
Yes, from 67 to 77.
So you got you on my paperwork here. It says missionaries to Spain 67, transfer to Brooklyn Bethel 67. So that's
No, that's a mistake. That's a
okay.
mistake.
See,
I
so
went to Spain in 67,
uh-huh.
and then I went to Brooklyn in 77.
77. So you're 10 years
Sorry
in
about that.
Spain. That's what I want.
10 years in Spain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so you had quite a lot of experience. So you transferred to Brooklyn Bethel. During the 10 years, what was some of your impressions during that 10 years regarding the hierarchy of the organization in Spain?
In Spain, they used to do a work because they used to work like slaves, especially John Kerr and Gunther Buschbeck. They work hard. They have problems, they have situations, but they work, and they did a good job for the. They have they had personality. Let me use the word flaws. Personality flaws.
Flaws, yeah.
They were humans, like in other places, but they did their best. I would say that they did their best,
Yes.
and I knew them. I knew them very well, very well,
Yes, they were good
because I was
people,
there with them.
and they were believers, and they gave their all, and like you did,
Yes.
and like
Yes,
Adrian did, and so many others across the world.
they were. There were others, like for example, your friend that went to to Bethel, Pablo, Eric Beveridge.
Yes.
Eric Beveridge was in the branch, but he was working by himself in an apartment. He didn't work
In Bethel.
in Bethel.
He was
I mean,
English.
he was in Bethel. He was a family member, but he used to work from his apartment because the branch wasn't too big.
I see.
There was another member of the family that was working with the literature, and he was in another place. See, until they went to Madrid, and I wasn't there anymore
Okay.
when they go to Madrid.
So
It was a small
eventually, you were gone when the branch things changed. The government. I can't remember enough about that, but was to do with taxes or something. The branch was sold in Spain.
We weren't
I
there.
wasn't. We were not there at that time.
No,
No,
it was
I heard stories.
after you left.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was after we left. That
Okay.
they sold it to move to Madrid. That was in Barcelona, the branch at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one in Madrid, the new one, came afterwards. That had to be the one that I was talking about. That
Yeah.
I never saw it. I
Yeah.
never saw it.
Well, you'd have remembered because it had pink marble in the lobby.
I have heard about people giving money and then they sold the branch and
Yeah.
the Kingdom Halls. They did nice Kingdom Halls.
Well, from what I remember, the issue was that the government was requiring the Watchtower to set up a payment program where like Social Security in the United States. And they did it in South Africa too, and the South African branch closed because the Watchtower would have to pay part of the future Social Security payments.
Yes, that's the thing, is because when, especially here in the States, the government give these institutions tax-free. Like, no, they don't pay any taxes because they expect them to take care of the priest or pastors or whatever, and the Watchtower benefits of those tax breaks, but they don't pay anything. And in places like Spain, they would rather, they would rather close the branch than pay their employees some sort of retirement plan.
That's exactly right. And
I never got anything. No, I never got anything.
Yeah. So I think these are side points that the people who are listening, they have no idea. So when they closed the branch, they let a lot of people go home. It was a small working organization. And people, well, I know in South Africa, it was a big branch. It was a beautiful branch, I understood. And so many had worked for years there. And then they were told to go home. And they had never paid into Social Security. So the higher authorities were really looking out for the employees of the Watchtower. But the Watchtower wasn't looking out for the employees of the Watchtower. Yeah. So, okay, now in you're transferred. Did you get any inkling that you were going to be transferred to the Brooklyn Bethel in 77?
No, for example, one day John came to me. I was working in the branch at that time, and he came to me and he said, "Nestor, I have bad news for you." Laughing, no? And then he said, "What? They want you to translate this." He gave to me. He said, "For what? What for?" He said, "Just translate that." He said, "What is going on?" And he said, "Well, I shouldn't tell you. I shouldn't tell you, but they want to test you, and if they like what you do, they will call you as a translator to
So you should have done
Brooklyn."
it bad.
Yes, that's
I
what I'm
said,
thinking. You
"What?"
should have just done it bad.
You should have done it bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Anything.
You're right.
Yeah, all these
And
years later, we gave you the solution, and
Yeah, you would
then,
have
I
still
would
been
have
and
told
you
you
would
what
still
to
been
do.
in Spain.
then I gave it to him. I mean, I finished it. I gave it to him, and later on, one day he came with a letter telling me that I was transferred
to
to New
Brooklyn.
York.
So, were you
What
happy
a
to go
privilege.
back? Were you happy to go back to New York?
Me?
Yeah, both of
No,
you.
they pay everything. Yeah.
Were
Well,
you
we were
happy?
happy because it was such a privilege, quote unquote.
Well, you was happy with
But
me. You
we
was happy.
were, I
You
mean,
was
I
you was
don't,
happy because that was your dream all your
I
life.
had always
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And
But
that's
not me.
the other
It was,
side of this story. And I knew that.
Hmm.
let
Yeah.
me tell you something. Let me tell you something that I mentioned in the book.
Okay.
For me, I was living in a paradise because in the district, I really work hard for people to be nice with others, with the elders, to be good with the brothers, treat them well, respect them and encourage them. And I had a good relationship with the brothers, and they with me. And everywhere I go in the assemblies, they treat me very nicely. So to leave that, it was hard for me. It was really hard.
Mhm.
Yes. And for Tony,
I cried a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
yes.
Mhm.
Hmm.
See, so when I got in Brooklyn, Bethel, I felt the difference.
It was like a cold shower.
The
Oh.
environment there, that
Mhm.
you know very well,
Yes.
in comparison to be free.
Very regimented and almost like people were watching you, you know.
Oh,
Almost.
uh-huh. And that's good. Something good that I think that in a way they respect me because of my
Position.
seniority, no, and Tony. We come from a country with persecution, working on the ground. You have such many privileges, but people treat me maybe nicer than to others. But anyway, you feel that you're nothing there, that they treat you. I mean, in the table, everything is so rigid.
Yes, rigid.
Yeah,
Mhm.
rigid.
Yes,
It's
right.
like a military, like
Yes.
a military.
Mhm.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That's what started me thinking. I
Mm.
remember one day I mentioned to, did you ever meet Cristobal Sanchez?
Yeah, I no, I didn't. I heard about it.
No,
I'm sure read about it. Yes, but
he
never.
was this fellowship
We were
also with
gone.
us.
We went in Bethel at
He was
82.
he was the translator of the Awake with Sister Willock. Both
Yeah.
of them work with the
Wake
Awake
magazine.
magazine.
Mike Wheelock. Her name, we called her Mike.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I remember one day I asked him, Cristobal, I am shocked with the environment here. It is like we don't have any Holy Spirit here in this place. The way the factory move, the way they function, the way they treat the young guys. I said, well, Nestor, this is it.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I asked that 3 years again after that, and then I got this fellowship.
Well, leading up to that now, so you're in Brooklyn, Bethel, 3 years before you're disfellowshipped, or approximate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so somewhere in that time period, you got involved with Ray Franz.
Well, not really involved, but I knew him,
Well,
and
you got to know him, and
he asked me to go to time to go to give talks to different places, and the memorial to another place, things like that, no? And we used to talk.
was Ray over Spanish translation, or what was his purpose? I mean, he was
No,
governing body member, I know that, and he had a background with Spanish from Dominican
yeah,
Republic and so forth.
yeah,
But
I really don't know why they called me. Honestly, I don't know why. I know he had a good relation with Fabio that used to work in Fabio Silva.
yes, I know who you mean. I didn't know him well,
He
but
was he was not in charge of the department, but he was the one that assigned work and things like that. The head was Dean Songer.
oh
Dean
well,
Songer was the head
oh my goodness,
at that time.
yeah.
He was in dispatch, and he was the overseer of the Spanish department.
Can you imagine that the overseer of the Spanish department, he didn't know Spanish,
Yeah.
but he was the overseer of that department.
Well, their philosophy was it had nothing to do. Your job had nothing to do with your talents. I'm talking about overseers of departments. It had to do with your spirituality. So the art department, the man who was over the art department, knew nothing about art. The man over photography knew nothing about photography, but they were spiritual men. So what happened? And there was nothing but bickering on in part of the
Yeah.
artists. They couldn't get the overseer to understand the nuances to do with people who are artists and their training and all of that. It's a wonder it lasted as long as it did. And I could really appreciate why they got out of the publishing business, because it was a disaster in time. They the second leading publishers of magazines. Reader Digest was first, and Watchtower is putting them out like literature, like
Really?
and but it was becoming a disaster inside. They didn't have the proper accounting situation. One day I'm going to talk about that. And so it was always going downhill. They were in debt. People think they're the richest organization, but they were in debt. They were paying banks their interest only, not principal.
Really, huh?
Yeah. So if you had training and something, and you went to Bethel for a month because you were an accountant, you thought, well, I'm going to be amongst them and I'm going to work with them and all that. Then you come to find out that they don't even know what they're doing in accounting. They have old procedures, nothing up to date. It was when Noah took over from Rutherford, he counted himself as an organizational man. Well, he had two routes to go to when he took over: either expand the organization, go bigger, buy bigger presses and so forth, or stay on the track that they went. Well, they made a decision to get bigger, and but they didn't take into consideration what that meant. So it's a wonder that it didn't fail sooner, but that was because of the donations. Some very, very rich people supported the organization for years. So we interviewed Deanna and about the Howells and the Blacks, and all these people had the witness background. Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola firm, the background is with the Bible students. And money galore in Dallas, that's where Ephraim is. Some of the humongous millionaires of big companies were Jehovah's Witnesses. And so the money was flowing in, but what they did with it it wasn't practical, and I found that out myself being in some of the departments I was in.
And there
So,
was money leaking also.
oh yes, yes,
And you discovered that too, didn't you, Barbara?
yes, I did. And so, and you can see where I am. Oh yeah, yeah. So, so this we're right there at this crucial time before your disfellowshipping, and I read your story that you sent me a link to, not the book in Spanish, which you got to get it in English. But I read it, the link you sent me where you were interviewed, and that period of time right there of your viewpoint of the they were interrogating you because of Ray France. The issue was Ray France. So go into a little bit about this, or a lot. Okay, you got some time here to do this.
You mean the trial?
Yeah, well, why you? Why you? You were you meeting with Ray
Okay.
France and studying with him, or what happened?
Okay. One day I asked Cristobal again about the situation in Bethel. It was a tyranny. And then he said, Nestor, I think you should talk to Ray France, but talk to Rene Vasquez. Rene Vasquez was he's originally from Puerto Rico, but he was in New York. He went to Gilead. He went to Spain. He returned because of his health, and he made a very good friendship with Raymond.
They had a child, huh?
And then they had a child, yeah, and they returned, and he was like the driver from him and from Charlie Miller, Harley Miller,
Harley Miller, who we sat at
from the
his
service
table.
department.
First went there. We were friends with them.
Him and Raymond were good friends with him. So I called Rene from the factory. I called Rene, and Rene said, "Yes, Nestor, you have to talk to Raymond about the subject of some doctrines. He thinks the Watchtower had it all wrong." I said, I call him. Okay. He told me something about Romans, about going to heaven. So I called Raymond, and Raymond said, "Oh, yes, yes, there are several things." And I told him openly. I spoke with Rene, and Rene told me to ask you about this and this and this. And he said, yes. And he explained me a few things about the idea of going to heaven, that the
Everybody.
price of heaven is for all the Christians,
Yes.
not for few, for only 144,000.
Right. Okay.
And then he said, those things and others, and I talked to them, and they don't want to change. So say, okay, then we have to go together and talk more about this. But from what he told me, he convinced me that what he told me was correct.
Can I interrupt a moment? But at that time, we were already discussing with Bethel.
Oh yes, you're right.
We had talked between us, and we were very, very, very disgusted with Bethel. Yeah.
We had applied to leave.
We had already applied
We
to
have
leave,
already
right?
applied to
Yes.
leave, and we have sent a letter
Yes.
that we were leaving
Okay.
because
So you
I don't know
decided
how
to
to
leave
fix it.
before this happened. So you were already on your way
Yes.
out,
oh
and
yes,
then
Oh,
this
yes,
happened.
yes, before,
Yes. Yes.
before.
Yes.
Everything came too fast, like always in our life. Things will go like that. So the letter was already in the Bethel office that we wanted to leave. We were going to return to Puerto Rico. And our idea was to return and take it easy, because
Faith.
really it was. I saw so many things, and people told us so many things, and people trust us and told the problems and these and other problems. I thought, well, how mistreated mishandling problems and things like that. So he came to our room and we spoke for a while.
I made a meal. They even put that in the book, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony went to the how was the name of the
Where you used to buy the meat and
the commissary, the commissary.
Yeah, the commissary.
Got some milk, I mean meat, and I bought some wine, and we spoke that night.
With
He, Cynthia, Tony, and I.
with Ray. With
Yes,
Ray.
Ray,
And Cynthia?
Cynthia.
Is Cynthia there? His
Yeah,
wife?
Cynthia was with us.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Cynthia and Ray and Tony and I.
Okay.
The four of us. We spoke and spoke. I remember he said, Nestor, but I am telling you those things not to change your mind or whatever. You just think about them and you get to your conclusion. He said, no, it's very clear to me. It's very clear to me. No problem. The main thing for me was the 144,000 and the faithful and discreet slaves.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Bible basis for that. So we continue talking, and we were going to take vacations at that time also next week. And I decided to bring my Gilead Bible. Remember that big one, the green Bible.
Well,
That is big letters, so you can make notes.
Yes.
Big one.
Yeah.
So I took it with me to Puerto Rico, and we didn't say anything to anybody, but I read and I checked other things, and I really went over the subject and mentioned to Tony, this is not truth. This is not what we thought. This is something made up. We have to leave. I mean, we have to leave the organization. But then we decided, okay, then we go there, we take our things, we return, we go to a congregation, and little by little, we
fade away. That's
fade
what
away.
we had planned to
I
fade
see.
away, but they didn't let us fade.
Yeah.
Then when I returned, I think it was the next week, I was feeling different there already. But then the next week, they called me. We were working there, and a group went to talk with the Cristobal Sanchez and his wife.
Right.
They were close to me. They went to, remember, in the 8th floor. There was the stair, and there was an office there in that corner.
The 8th floor, that's where I worked. Mm-hmm. And the office in the corner. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
The 8th floor in the factory.
Oh, in the factory. Okay.
In the factory. That was in the
She
factory,
didn't
yes.
work in the factory though.
So that's true. Yeah, that's true. She was high.
Yeah. No,
But then,
I was, you were there at that point. Well, see, I went in 82 and we worked in the, where the big lobby was, that building. But it was that available at that time? Were you working in the Squid building? The lot where the big lobby was?
no.
Yeah, the Squid building existed.
Yeah, but that was in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the point is, we were in the corner there, and they called me. It was Dan Silic.
Ah.
Dan Silic was in the committee representing the governing body. There was a Shaik.
I know. Yeah. We knew him. In fact, he had a cousin, a brother or something, living right here near us in Tennessee. Shaik's brother.
Shaik it was, or
See.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And not Tom Cabin, it was another one. There were several one of them. And they called me and Tony. We sat there and they started asking questions. I said, but why are you asking me those questions? So they started asking question about why I invited
Ray.
Ray France to my room. I told them openly, yes, we know since 1961 that he used to be the branch overseer in Puerto Rico, and then he was the when I came to Gilead, he was here. We used to talk, and also in Spain, he was the zone overseer. So I know him. Why
Mm-hmm.
not?
Mm-hmm.
But what about did you talk? That was my personal conversation with him. That was my. It came to my mind. I said, no, no, I don't have to talk to you about what I spoke with him. But I was scared. I knew what was going to happen if I tell them that I spoke against the organization with him. So we spoke about an hour, something like that, or maybe more. That was on Monday. Tuesday, again, they called Cristobal and his wife. And after they finished with them, they called me again with the same argument and different.
Are you talking
Uh,
about the 144,000 and that type of thing and belief in going to heaven?
no,
You never
no,
brought
it's
that up?
interesting.
Oh,
Interesting. No, they asked me about Raymond France. It
I
was
see.
just about Raymond France.
Well, see,
And
Raymond,
that,
it was right around that time, well, shortly before that, that Raymond Franz was visiting in Tampa, Florida. And he had very good friends there, and they were mutual friends of ours. And so these people were connected up to Bethel for years and years from Ohio, and they moved to Florida. And they told us that Ray came to visit them and talked about everybody going to heaven. So
uh,
called Bethel and they informed about Ray's new belief system. And you got caught up in that they probably thought you were in on it. I'm just
okay.
supposing. But see, that was
Okay.
all
Seems like
in
it.
that time period, 78, 79, you know.
That was in no, but my experience was in 1980.
Yeah, but Ray was already believing in going to heaven in 79.
Ah, okay. Oh, already.
Yes, he
Okay.
was.
Okay. Then Cristobal Sanchez had mentioned to another brother about those ideas that he trusted. I said, don't say anything. But that guy, another Cuban, talked to Harley Miller. He didn't know anything. Rene Vasquez has mentioned something to Harley Miller like the big thing, not accusing Raymond, but you know something, you know this and the other. Okay, but I never spoke with anybody. I never spoke with anybody about those subjects. So only with Tony. So they wanted to know. The second day, I said, please, I don't want Tony to come here again. You asked me and we talked, but not with Tony because the pressure was really hard. I remember one day I had to stand up and say, "Hey, listen, you have to respect me. I am an elder here also, so you have to respect me," because they were really pressing and talking sometimes harsh. So I said, I don't say a word about my conversation with Raymond because that goes against my sense of dignity. I have dignity, and as a man, as a human being,
They got frozen a little bit again. And it's very interesting, everything that Nestor is saying. That it's all in the book, and they it seems to me that they were just pressing him to say something
Exactly.
against Raymond France. That's it.
Exactly.
And they just kept pressing. And according to the book, he said that one of the he told them, and I quote, "I am no rat."
Yes. Mhm.
So he's like, I'm not gonna go ahead and just say something for the sake of saying something. And the thing is that with this type of groups, when you are put in this situation with a group of elders, most rank and file witnesses,
Okay,
they will just
here
go
again.
ahead and get scared and say whatever the elders want to hear.
That's right.
We got
Mhm.
Nestor back.
I think the watchtower. I think the watchtower is getting
Yeah,
here involved.
they have their hackers on us, Barbara. They- They're monitoring
Okay.
you, Barbara.
Somebody said, wish Barbara would be quiet so I can listen to Nestor. And I got to say for you, just get off them, because if you got a big problem with this, I'm filling Nestor in on what was going on the outside. What he was going through at the inside, we were hearing it on the outside. And Ray was visiting in Jupiter, Florida, and attended a book study in Jupiter, Florida, and put his beliefs out. And it was in this period of time, 79. And he was putting out his beliefs. And so guess what they did in Jupiter, Florida? Called Bethel. So you fell into this by visiting. So we're filling in the story that you didn't know about. And I didn't know about your side of the story either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
they
is a conversation.
yeah. So they kept. They wanted me to say just tell what Raymond Frank was saying, and I told them every time. But you ask him; he's there with you. But I remember on Thursday I was really stressed. That's when I called Raymond, and he was on vacation in Atlanta, I think it was.
Where the place that she said.
And then I mentioned, Ray, things is getting rough. And he said, Nestor, tell them everything. Don't worry, they know. Tell them everything. I said, no, I don't want to say anything because it's me, it's my personality. They want to crush me just to say things that I don't have to say. They haven't asked me about what my belief for nothing. It's just about you, about you.
Yeah.
They don't care about me. It's about you. Okay, that was Thursday. I said, no, don't worry. I just wanted to talk to you because I feel like it's a hard pressure. Can you imagine all those people there in top of you? So on Friday, it was the last day, they called me again. They said, you are in really bad situation. The governing body is going to disfellowship you if you don't talk. And it is the governing body. I said, well, I have told you already that I haven't done anything wrong that I know. Nothing wrong. I haven't spoken to anybody. I haven't said anything. So what are you asking me about? And then they decided, they told me, but then we're going to disfellowship you. Okay, they said, well, that's up to you. Because I didn't want to show them that I was really scared. I mean, I was thinking what's going to happen.
That's right. Ephraim's shaking his head. Yes, yes, yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they
Oh, it
wanted.
was
That's how they work.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah. You were a scapegoat.
So I remember in one moment I said, let me tell you something. I remember in Spain talking to elders to be nice, to be good with others. And look at what you're doing to me here. And you have no basis, nothing to talk to me like that. And you have been so disrespectful with me. I told them several things in several occasions because I was mad. The way they treat me, they really treat me bad, really bad. So that was Friday afternoon. We walked to the. I finished there. I went to my office. Nobody told me anything. Nobody came to see me.
We were
In the
already
studio.
packing, though. I was already packing.
So you remember what was her name?
That was good.
Diane.
It was.
Do you remember? Do you remember Diane Beer?
Say that.
Diane Beer was
Diane
Diane
Beer.
Beer.
No.
She was a proofreader for the English section.
Diane.
Beer as in the drink.
Yeah, no, not when I was into writing. No, not
No.
in.
And he worked with us. I remember I told her
She-
she worked with us. I said, don't come with us. You're going to get involved in problems. And she said, no, no worry, no problem. I want to go with you. You're by yourself. And you can imagine how we felt. So we
Yes.
went to our room. We were living in the 14th floor. In the next room after,
Oh yeah.
what was his name? The governing body member that used to drink a lot.
Well,
Klein.
they all did, but
Huh?
Klein drank a lot. Klein.
they all did.
No,
They
no,
The,
no, no. What?
the first name that
Uh,
came to mind was Klein, but
Ephraim.
which
What was
one?
the name of a missionary in Puerto Rico? Klein,
Uh,
Brother Klein.
Klein, yeah,
Yeah.
brother Klein.
Klein. Remember, I used
Klein
to live.
was a drunk.
Yeah, Klein.
I was the neighbor of Klein,
Uh-huh.
and so we went to the room, and I told Tony, we have to finish the thing because for sure tomorrow we are going to be is going to be announced. They want to do things fast, and at that time there was a missionary from Spain,
From Puerto Rico.
no, from Spain, getting a training in Bethel. He came to see us,
Ah, see.
and he said, Nestor, I heard that you're in problem. What's going on?
Maybe she knew him because he had been
John
a Bethel.
Heidelberg.
John Heidelberg.
No. Mm-mm.
I told him, well, don't worry, but you better leave and ask me, make me a favor. If they make an announcement in the morning, let me know. So in the morning we didn't go downstairs, and he came.
Go to breakfast.
He came by and throw a note. He said, ¿Cómo es que dijo él?
The writing on the wall has
Yeah.
been the writing on the wall
Has been, yeah, like he has,
in other words,
what you thought, have you thought has happened. They announced me.
Oh.
So I was this fellowship. That night we went to Manhattan with the
we went
to celebrate.
Oh,
We
good.
we celebrate that they did us a favor.
Yeah, yeah. I did the same thing when I was on television. I said it's a badge of honor to be disfellowship. I don't want to be associated with this organization.
Mhm.
I don't want to name.
Cristobal and his wife, Antonia and I, we went to there.
that place.
It was a Spanish restaurant. We ate paella, and because we were nervous and tense, we returned. Saturday morning, we learned that happened, and I remember John Booth.
Of course. Oh my.
He came to bring us a letter. Poor man. He was so nervous. He was shaking, literally shaking. And I told him, get into the room, get in. Come in. And he said, no. Take this. I didn't accept the letter at the beginning. I said, but come in. And then I said, okay, give it to me. He left. And there was a brief letter. You have been disfellowship by covering over an apostasy movement.
Oh my goodness.
With the stamp of the governing body.
Do you still have that letter?
No, I don't have it. In the letter they said, if you ever want to return, you have to ask the governing body
Directly,
not the committee. So I remember Barbara is the one that told me, but that's not a Bible
requirement
base to the fellowship a person.
Barbara?
Remember, you told me once.
Oh, yes. No, I thought you talking maybe about the government.
You said, but there is no scripture about that.
No.
That you're disfellowship or not telling others your conversations.
Yeah.
So that was something they did.
They were making up rules just to get Raymond France out.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that I always thought Raymond supposedly was waiting for Jehovah to help the organization to change those things. That was his excuse. That he thought that Jehovah was going to change things. But he knew or was he blind? What was going on inside?
Mm-hmm.
I remember telling Tony, for me, two things are enough. I am not going to continue studying what they teach or what they do. They are good for nothing. At that time, I thought they have nothing to do with God. This is not something from God. They have no Holy Spirit, so we're out and we're happy. So we
Mm-hmm.
left.
Good. So, what advice do you have in conclusion? It could be take 10 minutes, do what you want, but I mean, talk to us like a Dutch uncle, and about
Yeah,
reflecting back and
Like we used to say in Brooklyn, goodbye and good riddance.
yeah.
Oh,
We
and keep in mind, Tony is not disfellowship yet.
yeah. Oh, Tony. Oh my.
That's right. I'm not this fellowship, so you can't talk to me.
Sister Tony, Sister Tony,
Come on.
Sister Tony.
Yeah.
Sister
Well,
Tony, Sister
sister.
Tony.
Well, I don't want to preach or give a talk, but I would say to all the ex-witnesses to think about their situation, to think from time to time, why did they leave that organization? Why did they leave? And sometimes it's because of the liberty, they wanted more liberty. Uh, they noticed that God was not there. Many reasons that we can mention. They changed their belief. They didn't believe in that anymore. But what are they going to do with their life now? And we have several emotions when we leave that organization. It's funny. We have a lot of emotions,
Of course,
especially
my parents were still witnesses,
yeah,
so that was
That's another
hard.
yeah. We
story.
had a very hard time with my
So you were you
in-laws.
were being shunned by.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yes, my sister don't talk to me, thing like that.
Mhm.
But many of us felt like a release, like you felt, myself, and Tony. But then sometimes you have doubts. Doubts come to you. Like for example, as I mentioned, with Raymond France, he's still there and I am not there. Or other situation, but I said no, no. It was clear, and now I'm going to follow my father's advice.
Yes, yes,
About,
yes.
about freedom and myself.
Yeah.
I am the judge. I noticed that, but it's okay.
We had the I don't know what word to use, but the fact that my mother had to come to live with us after my father died. He passed away, and she came to live with us. And she kept being a witness. We made sure that she knew where the Kingdom Hall was and whatnot. And she couldn't believe that we could be so kind to her after all that happened. And she would always say that it was unbelievable. And but she died as a witness. And
Mm-hmm.
when she died, we asked the brothers to please do a service for her, and they
Mm-hmm.
did. And we took her to the service here in Puerto Rico and in Florida, and we buried her in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said if they get to know that before.
Yeah, she kept saying, if only we had known, if only we had known. My father passed away, and of course, I didn't have more relationship with him from the disfellowship on. He wouldn't have it. That's the way he wanted it.
Mhm.
But when my mother had to come,
Yeah,
uh, she was she was amazed at how we treated her and how we said we don't hate Jehovah's Witnesses. We don't hate anybody.
And how we live.
We're just happy that we're out.
Because
yeah.
they thought that we were just worldly people, like
That we were going to be
doing
miserable or
doing all
whatever.
kind of things. And she saw us. But something that the ex-witness has to think also is because many times we are angry,
That's right.
angry because they have done to us, and you have to learn that everybody can do whatever they want. It's up to them. We cannot change them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, with the Tony's father, we never spoke again.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What you want to be like that? That's okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's your decision. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Why I should be angry with him?" I remember my father talking to Tony good about the parents, because at the beginning, but Tony suffered a lot, and Tony was mad and hurt. I used to tell her, don't worry, Tony. They are good people. They are misled. They are this organization, and he never spoke bad against the witnesses. He respected them. He said, "Okay, they are. That's the problem."
They have a right to believe what they
And
want to believe, as long as
and
they
his
don't break
daughter,
the laws of the
his
superior
daughter,
authorities. So,
his daughter, that was a wonderful daughter with him. He always lived with her. Since I went to Spain, they were together. My mother died, and they continued together, and until he died.
And your sister's still a Jehovah Witness.
Yeah, and her husband, he's an elder, and he's really good with her and with him.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And freedom
So
of choice.
exactly, and that's something that I learned, and I have always kept in mind. You cannot change others. Because
That's
I have heard so many witnesses complaining that they don't love me anymore. My mother, my sister. Well, that's up to them,
mm-hmm.
because they can think the same about you. Why don't you return to the witnesses and then have friendship with them? You don't want to do it, but then don't want to do it neither. See, you have allowed others to do their own thing, and then you have to. Something important is that you have to develop your own belief system,
Mm-hmm.
but your own. Because sometimes you follow another religion, or you go to another group or another philosophy just to follow these or the others. But no, you have to uh, take time and think what I have learned in life, what is good, what had I did I learn and apply. Maybe even start writing my belief system in what I believe, and this is your belief
That's right.
according to you.
Well, belief is subjective. It depends
Yeah.
on you and your
Yes,
background, your genetics, and
exactly.
all of those things. To try to mold everybody like the Watchtower has done, it doesn't work, because behind closed doors they revert back to the way they really want to be. Their needs are different than the laws that Watchtower makes. So how do you know what they do behind closed doors? So
Yeah, the problem is that with the witnesses, since for so many years we have been used to wait for the assembly, the news, the new light, what
yeah,
they say. I remember having problems in congregation. I said, let me check in the Watchtower to see what they say about this or the other, or the book of the lamp book for the
yes,
elders, things
yes.
like that. See, but now nobody. I don't have anybody to ask questions. I don't. To whom am I going to ask questions?
To yourself.
I have to think and check. Now with the artificial intelligence, you can ask, but
Yeah,
or Google it.
yeah,
See,
that's
but
right.
you have to learn.
The world is changing, and it has.
Right.
It's done that for thousands of years. And,
Hmm.
society changes constantly, and people change with it. Generations come and go. So it's the ones that are caught up the worst are the young people who are raised in it, who
I
don't want to
agree.
be witnesses. That's the ones that hurt the worst. And so they're traumatized. So many of them are traumatized, and they don't know how to make choices, even because the Watchtower made your choices. Your parents made choices for you that were based on what the Watchtower said. So they're the ones that have the problems, and that's why the superior authorities are getting involved, aren't they? Like in Norway and Lithuania, and taking a look at the witnesses in Eastern Europe. I'm talking about Sweden and Finland. It's human rights issues, So Watchtower is failing, and because the world is changing. You know,
Yes,
so
yes.
uh,
I
it's
recall my mother used to say when she was in her deathbed, if only I had known.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't believe that we could be so kind to her and to the brothers to visit her and whatnot. It was like beyond her. And she just kept saying, if only I had known. And that's life. We
Do
have to
you
in
live
think?
their,
and learn.
Do
in
you
their
think she
elders
might
book.
have? Do you
The,
think she might have woken up at least up to some point?
Maybe, maybe. She died a witness, but well, see, she had to come and live with us for near the time that she was so sick, and we took care of her. And the first thing we did was call the brothers of the nearby congregation, and they would come, and they would come in the house, and we would let them come in, of course. But the one thing I always said to them, if my husband is here, you greet him. You don't pass by him. You greet
Good,
him because
good
he's
for
a
you.
human being like you are.
yes.
And there was one that passed by and he thought he was high and mighty. And when
Hmm.
he came back, Nestor said, "You want to continue coming to my house to visit my mother-in-law? You have to greet us. Otherwise, don't come back." He
Mm,
didn't come back.
mhm,
Yeah, because he just came in like nothing. He said,
yeah,
I am here and I am the owner of the house.
yeah.
And you have to respect me.
Good for you.
It's time already. Hey, hey.
Yes.
Well, Barbara, I'll tell you, I really have been enjoying this program. Boy, I'll tell you, they are something else. I'm falling in love with this couple. They're so kind, and boy, you can understand them. We all have been in the Watchtower, and boy, they're right on what they're saying. I'd like to open up the lines and see if we can't get some people to come in and say hello to them. Boy, we had a lot of people commenting on our YouTube channel, Facebook channel. So you're getting a lot of attention there. Bob, we get a lot of hits here on YouTube right now live. When this program goes up, there'll be, I'm sure, 5,000 to 6,000 people that will watch this. But what I wanted to do, I just want to bring this picture up again. This picture, I'll tell you, that is an amazing picture. I'll tell you, that
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
that is the. I'll tell you what a wonderful picture that was. And you were happy Jehovah's Witnesses, and you felt like life was going to be so wonderful and beautiful, being in the truth. And but here you are today, and you can look back and say, you know something, what a bunch of baloney that organization is. Boy, oh boy. But
Yeah,
that
Oh
picture
yeah.
is very impressive. A handsome, handsome couple. I tell you,
yeah.
really, really beautiful.
Thank
So,
you.
well, I mean, I
Thank
really,
you. Thank you. The
Where,
same
Barbara,
still the same.
yeah.
where is the paradise earth? They are living for it when they were married.
I'm going to show you a picture of Paradise Earth in September Watchtower. This was a leaked Watchtower. Now, you take a look at this picture. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Ah,
Now,
that's
look at the,
what a dreamer. That artist is a dreamer.
well, there's the family. Look at all those animals around the table. I mean, could you realistically, there's goats, there's lions, there's tigers, there's fox, it looks like a hippo in the background there somewhere. I mean, could you eat a meal with that many animals around? I mean, they'd be jumping up on the table. I have a hard time years ago keeping my cat from jumping up at the food. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that's not even an artist. That's AI created.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
I have an experience I want to tell you about something regarding that. The Awakener was critical of Colin Quackenbush. Colin Quackenbush was a very
Quackenbush,
important writer in the writing department. And I'm not going to go into his history or anything like that, but he says Colin lives a dream. He's the one that does all these articles on the animals and people and how they're going to live forever. And the artists have these drawings. He said, this is ridiculous. He said, if you look at animals or deal with animals hate one another. They eat one another. He said,
Yeah.
And he was being honest about this. But these people like Colin were painting a picture that's not reality, and basically that the picture painted in the Hebrew scriptures were all about the Jewish return to Israel and the restoration, and that's how you live with your own vine and fig tree. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, their teachings with Russell coming from the brethren in England, the Darby teachings, it's a repetition of these old ideas of a return to something we never had. It was Israel. Yeah. Jesus was a Jew, and Jesus was talking to Jews.
Well, you're absolutely right, Barbara. Hey, listen, what we're going to do, though, we're coming up on the news here, so let's open up the lines. Let's open up the lines. Would someone like to come in? If you'd like to come in and say hello to Tony or Nestor or Barbara, well, now's the time to do it if you want to. In fact, I'm going to also put a telephone number up on YouTube. And why don't you come in and say hello to them? You listen to their story. Boy, what a genuine story. I have to tell you something. I've been sitting here on the edge of my seat. And what I like about it, and I think it's good. I've talked to Barbara. I talked to so many other ex-Bethelites. And, there's a certain feeling they get. Yes, at times they were treated improperly. Let's go with that. But yet at times it's like it was a big family and they were part of it. So you can understand their feelings at times toward some of these brothers and sisters. That was part of their life, a good part of their life. Yeah. So we all understand that. And boy, I'm so glad that we have got them on with us, Barb. Yeah.
Listen, Nestor's talking about people that I knew. He's talking about Harley Miller. Harley Miller made decisions to try to wreck Nestor's life on, and yet if you knew Harley Miller and you knew his background, and he wasn't worth keeping. He made decisions that were horrible. His wife was an alcoholic. Now they had problems in their personal life, but then they go ahead and these men, they can disfellowship and think they're gonna hurt someone, and their lives. Nestor and Tony, they weren't alcoholics. They weren't doing anything wrong. Nada. And they get punished. And these people sit in judgment of them. That is the truth of the matter. And I will never quit saying it because I lived it. I saw it like Nestor. And he didn't move an inch for them. He stuck with it and he wouldn't bow to their rules and laws. And I admire him more. And Tony was clear thinking wife instead of crying like Franz's wife. Franz's wife was hysterical, crying in her apartment. So said somebody who is anyway, said when they were told they were going to leave, she fell apart. Not Tony. Tony was rejoicing and glad.
Eating paella.
Yeah.
Well, I want to step in. I want to ask Tony and Nestor. Now, what I want you to say is, you've been involved with the Watchtower for many years. You're out of it now, of course. But what would be, of all the things that you can think about the Watchtower? Let's start with the best thing you could think of, and then now that you're out of it, I want you to tell us what the worst thing is of the Watchtower. So while you guys are in, and even as you look back now, what would you say was a good point or the best thing about the Watchtower? What do you think?
The best or the worst?
Not both things. What's the
things.
best and what's the worst?
Okay. The worst thing is the double standard, I would say. Double standard and how the hypocrisy also.
Hypocrisy, yeah.
There's too many things. The hypocrisy. How they teach something that they know is not truth. How they divided so many people because they are really bad. when they do things. See, that's one.
So no, but I got you with that. You're a Christian man, I know, and I am as well. And I have to tell you that the cults that are the most dangerous deal with Christian cults, because what it is they're counterfeit Christians and they mislead so many people. And like was brought up in the program tonight, Barbara brought it up and you guys agreed, of course. The Watchtower, they can really teach whatever they want. If they want to teach that a purple elephant is going to come down from the heavens and bring them all back to some other world somewhere, that's fine and dandy. I don't pick on that. But what I pick on is when they try to take deliberate passages from the scriptures and distort them. That's what they do. And they try to do it to fit their agenda. Tony, I want to ask you, what do you think was the worst thing about the Watchtower in your way of thinking?
Oh, they were very harsh. They were very harsh. To me, that was the worst. I think they treated us too harsh. But I'm glad I'm out. I'm glad I'm out, but I did enjoy myself when I was there. There are people I think of who I love very much, and I know they wouldn't talk to me, but I still love them. But yeah, that's
Harsh
about it.
people. Well, I was just fellowship back in 2005, and I always tell the audience, I'm glad that Satan kicked me out of his organization.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm happier that I'm out.
What
That's for
I like,
sure.
what I would say I like is that they gave me a platform to help people.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, I taught wrong things, but I also taught how to be a good person,
Yeah.
how to show love to others. That was my main concern in my visits, in circuit and in district, and in the school, helping them to be good, to be nice with others, not to take advantage of others. See, that was something that I enjoy
Well,
doing,
I have
teaching.
to, agree with you, Nestor. That there's some good things. It's not all bad. There were some good things. I mean, they. I never picked a cigarette up in my life. I mean, I don't know
No,
if I
that's life.
would, but
That's
I do.
life.
Yep.
Like the Jing and Jan. No,
So
always in life.
they taught some good things. The ministry school I thought was good. It gave good training and helped me in my business that I'm in today. So not all bad, but they're just they're twisted in their thinking, as you guys know, and it's a shame that they've hurt so many people. Well, I want to thank you folks for coming on. I want to thank Barbara, and now
¿Cómo
you
dice
guys
torcido en inglés?
have been on for
Twisted?
over
They're twisted.
you've been on for over 3 hours, my goodness, and I really appreciate that. Barbara and Efren does as well. So, any last words, and we'll close the program out.
I want to say thank you to two people I love, and that's Tony and Nestor. And I will squeeze in love for the man who makes all this possible, and that's Rick. And Ephraim is I've adopted him. He's my new son. Okay, so that's my words. Thank
Well,
you.
before we leave, we do have someone coming in from out west. You want to come in 720? 720, want to come in?
Yeah, Rick, this is Dan. Yeah, I just want to say I tuned into the show a little bit late, but I sure enjoyed them, and I'm glad these kind of testimonies getting out. Because,
Okay.
like you said, that you'd be treated a lot better after giving.
I would say twisted. They are twisted.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, here we are. Barbara?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear
Yes.
you. I would say to Rick, they are twisted.
Yeah, twisted.
Went through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know, my question is, when you guys were in, and you were in heavy, were you watching it come apart at the
Are you saying
seams?
something?
I think he is.
I don't hear anything now.
Una pregunta que tienen para ustedes.
Huh?
Can you repeat the question?
No, I didn't hear anything.
No, the listener, yes.
Yeah, when they were in, were they watching? Were they aware that people were dropping out like flies? Were they like aware, like, oh my God, this thing's coming apart? You know,
Can you hear me, Barbara?
inside than
Okay.
most of us.
So the listener is asking, Nestor and Tony, like, did you notice an exodus of people leaving while you were in when you were inside? Did you see the decline in the Watchtower back then?
No, no,
No, when you
I
were in,
wasn't
you were
aware of
actually
that.
seeing like in the 80s when it was going up, right?
No,
When you're in Bethel, you don't have time to think.
uh,
Gotcha.
I used to walk over time. I used to walk over time all the time, even weekends, because translation was always behind, trying to catch up, and with the assemblies, we have to work hard. But we never saw that. And something is that when I quit, I was by myself, completely, Tony and I by ourselves. Nobody in Puerto Rico that I can talk. And that's something that I don't know if Barbara knows. They said a lot of things against me, that I changed the publication information in the translation. When
Oh
I
yes.
translated things in a different way, that I was fooling around with women. They say a lot of things against me. So I was by myself. That's good that I connected with some friends from my when I was a kid and from the university. So I made new relationship. I mean, I contact with them again, and then I was not by myself. I had friends and good friends that they keep the friendship until now, and that was in 1980. Those that are still alive, we're still together,
I
Mhm.
want to say,
and so we were with other people, but not with witnesses. We didn't know anything about that.
We made our own life,
something very
and
important.
we've
You
enjoyed it up until now.
Yeah.
Watchtower has no heart. And you know, when you become a real Christian, like Rick was talking about, you move into the heart and you really care about people and you love people despite whether they leave or stay. You still love because that's what we do. But Watchtower has no love. They squash you like a bug when you leave. They cut your head off. I mean, they're done with you. You are dead man. You are dead man. And so I'm glad you're out of there. You saw them for what they are. Unfortunately, we don't see it a lot of times, so we spend a lot of time in there and serve and serve and serve. And then when we do something wrong or, you know, listen to the wrong video, they're ready to squash us like a bug. They could care less how much. It ain't between us and Jehovah. It's between us and governing body. And I want governing body to know something if they're listening. We got our boxing gloves on, you assholes. We got our boxing gloves on. And you got yours on and we got ours on.
Yes. So did you catch that, Nestor and Tony?
No, I didn't. I can't
So
hear.
yeah, he was saying that he was really happy that you guys left, and in a nutshell, that what you receive while you're inside the organization is unconditional love. Now that you're out, you will see like the real love from the people
Good.
surrounding you, not
Thank
the
you.
fake one from the watchtower.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we all enjoyed the program. Thank you for calling in, Dan. We all enjoyed the program, and we'll be hearing more from you, Tony and Nestor, on Efren's program in 2 weeks. But keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up or out, and keep waving that flag of victory. And good night to you,
Thank
Barbara and Efren. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Thanks to you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
See you, Nestor.
Have a great night.
Chat with you later.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Well, there you have it. Now, don't go anywhere. We've got more programming coming up on the 6 screens. We've got JW World News coming up next. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. I know I always say that, but boy, we do have a lot. And now what you want to do also is stay in tonight around 10 o'clock. We have our good friend, former Jehovah's Witness, Eric. He's coming out of Tennessee. And he's a former witness, like I say, and he has a program called Awakening After Leaving the Watchtower. He'll be on tonight at around 10 o'clock. So let's end the stream here, but stay with us on our Facebook channels, stay with us on our radio network, and stay with us, of course, on YouTube. JW World News coming up next. I want to thank all those for coming in and commenting as well on our platform. Thank you.